I can't imagine how you do a Dark Souls film or TV adaptation.
That's Alex Garland, who was just announced as the writer and director for a new adaptation of Elden Ring. Now, I haven't seen all of Garland's films, but I thought Ex Machina was incredibly well done. And it turns out, Garland has actually been a huge fan of FromSoft. In an AMA on Reddit, Garland said he loved Shadow of the Erdtree, and was even on NG+6. And in 2020, he gave an interview with GameSpot where he said why he loved the Dark Souls series.
The Dark Souls game seems to have this kind of embedded poetry in them. You'll have some weird bit of dialogue with some sort of broken soul sat with a bit of armor outside some doorway or gate, and it feels like you've drifted into this existential dream. And that I think that's what I really love about Dark Souls. The different spaces are so imaginative, and they seem to kind of flow into each other and flow out of each other, and that's very dreamlike. And that I think that's what I really love about those games.
In that interview, Garland even identified why so many video game adaptations suck.
Probably at one point it was because of contempt. I think that the people doing the adaptations didn't understand what they were adapting.
There was also an episode of Devs, which Garland wrote and directed for FX, where one of the characters is seen playing a FromSoft game. But that game was Dark Souls 2, so that one is a bit of a wash. To be completely honest, I don't think you could find a better director than Alex Garland for this project. Not only do you need a really talented director, you also need someone who truly understands the appeal of these games. And that's just not a quality you're gonna find very often in Hollywood. There's also the fact that George R.R. Martin is attached as a producer, though it's unclear what role, if any, Hidetaka Miyazaki and the rest of FromSoft will play. So the Elden Ring movie has both talent and passion for the game. That being said, I don't think an Elden Ring movie is gonna work. My biggest problem with adapting Elden Ring as a movie is the choice of medium. See, in a traditional movie, you have about an hour and a half to 2.5 hours to tell a story. That can rise up to about 3 hours if you're making a grand epic like Dune or Lord of the Rings. But to put it mildly, Elden Ring doesn't really have a traditional story structure. There is simultaneously not enough plot, but also too many side stories to fit into a film. Unlike in Dune or Lord of the Rings, where the protagonist characters actually have defined traits, in Elden Ring, the player tarnished is deliberately a blank slate. Now, that's awesome for an RPG, but that's a complete nightmare when you're trying to adapt it to a film, where things like character development and growth and arcs are kind of important. To his credit, Garland does recognize the challenges in adapting a FromSoft game.
The quality that makes Dark Souls special is probably unique to video games. I could imagine doing a 10-minute short for Dark Souls, you know? And it wouldn't really be a story, it would be like a tone, like a sequence of moments. But it's not a movie, it's it would be like a 10-minute thing. You know,
I can imagine you doing that.
Oh boy, that would be fun.
There's also the question of casting. Who would you pick for Elden Ring the movie? I want Pedro Pascal as Let Me Solo Her, and Asmongold as the loathsome Dung Eater. If you mention Jack Black or Chris Pratt, I will ban you. Instead of a film, I think a TV show would be a much better fit. With a show spanning multiple episodes across multiple seasons, you would just have a lot more time to explore the setting and the characters of the lands between. There also seems to be a greater appetite and appreciation for shows that don't tell everything to the audience, and rely on subtle acting or environmental storytelling. There's also the fact that TV shows have a very unique watching experience that I think would fit great with FromSoft. Take a look at a show like Severance. The show is of course exceptionally well made, but a lot of the fun comes from interacting with the community. Each week, fans craft elaborate theories and hyperfixate over the smallest details in every frame. Without getting into spoilers, something as simple as a character mispronouncing a name can reveal deep insights into what that character is thinking and plotting. Fostering that kind of communal watch experience would translate very well to adapting Elden Ring, which already has a thriving and slightly rabid lore fandom. Case in point, the game's lore is so intricate and interwoven, it inspired me to learn DaVinci Resolve and make this channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what yins think.